Hi Internet! I'm Emily, I'm a makeup amateur and a YouTube amateur, and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to open up the May Boxycharm base box. So this is the smallest box they have available. It comes every month. There's 4 or 5 products in it, usually 5. They're supposed to be full size: makeup, hair care, and skincare. Sometimes you get brushes, sometimes you get lashes, stuff like that. If you are a subscriber to the Luxe box, that'll be an upgrade every 3rd month, which means it replaces this box 4 times a year. This box costs $25 US. If you live in Canada like me, there's an extra $5 for shipping. Also, if you are an active subscriber to Boxycharm, you get to pick one of the items in each of these boxes. The choice for June opened on May 17th. So let's dive on in. I have opened the box already, so I know what's in here. I haven't tried any of the products yet though. So the theme this month is Boxycharm Flourish. This will give you all of the items and their prices, which we will go over at the end of this video. All right, so let's reach in and grab the smallest thing in here. This is from Han, H-A-N. It says healthy, active, and natural, and it's their all natural multi-stick. The shade is Roseberry. So this is pretty teeny. This is similar, I would say, to the e.l.f. blush. I don't remember what those were called. I did have one at one point, so it's super teeny. I'm sure this is supposed to be, oh my god, it even looks like the e.l.f. one. It smells very sweet, almost like cupcakes. It's kind of like a mid-tone pink. There's a lot of shimmer in there. I, generally speaking, don't like to use products for multiple purposes because anything that's supposed to be good for your lips and your cheeks, I either find is like too oily for my cheeks or too dry for my lips. So there's never really been a happy balance for me. I'm sure I'll be able to use this for one of those purposes. Let me swatch it quickly. Oh wow, that's a really rich color. I mean, I didn't even press that hard. So it's a really shimmery pink. I would probably end up using this for a lipstick just based on the consistency. I can feel it feels very emollient. I don't know that that would feel very comfortable on my cheeks. It would probably break down and get oily really fast. And also it's really dark. So there's the first item. Also, this is vegan and cruelty free. Moving along to the next item in here. I know for a fact this was going to be in here because it was the item that I chose this month. It's from Tarte. It's their Shape Tape Glow Wand, and I got the shade Alight. This is also cruelty-free and vegan, by the way. So, if you have heard of Tarte Shape Tape, you probably know that it is a concealer. However, this was a different product that they came out with. I can't remember. I think it was probably about 2 years ago, maybe like a year and a half. It is actually not a concealer, and you could be forgiven for being confused because it sure looks like a concealer in the packaging and it has the same name as their very, very famous concealer line. However, this is supposed to be like a liquid highlighter. Like the box doesn't have very many directions. It says 4 ways to glow, so 4 suggestions for how to use it. Over the Shape Tape concealer, alone for no makeup magic, mixed with moisturizer or primer on high points of the face, collarbones, and décolletage. That's only 3 things. Oh, there are 4. I'm stupid, I can't read. It's mixed with the moisturizer or on the high points of the face, collarbones, and décolletage. So here's the thing. If they're saying to use it over your concealer, I was seeing a lot of people, especially when this first came out, and also when, Boxycharm was advertising this as a choice item, they were putting it like directly under their eyes, like you would with a traditional concealer, especially if you have like dark circles. Ignore mine right now, please. But I don't understand that because that's not where you want to put a highlighter. The other choice item, I forget what it was. I will probably see it later on when I review the items, but I think it was some kind of skincare, so I wasn't interested in that. I picked this because I was like, I guess, but I don't know, like if it was concealer. As makeup products go, I would consider concealer to be a pretty kind of utilitarian product. Like it's a necessity. I'm not like super picky about the concealers that I use. It's kind of like you use it until you use it up and then you replace it. Let me swatch this on my hand. So I picked one of either the lightest or the second lightest shade they had available. There is some sheen to it. Like I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but there's a window here. It's very clearly reflecting the light of the window. Generally speaking, that's not what you want in a concealer because you wouldn't be like, I have a pimple here. Please draw attention to my pimple. It's a little bit yellowy in undertone. It'll probably look fine on my face or with my foundation. I'm not really sure, based on the description, how I would go about using this. It's also not as full coverage as most concealers. Like, there are definitely, you know, I went back and forth on my hand a couple times. There's definitely some patchiness to it here. So we'll have to see. Also, something I do like about this, and that I wish like actual concealers would have, is there's this little sponge tip blender on the end of it, so you don't have to like go and grab a completely separate brush or sponge to blend it out. I think that's really clever packaging, and if they put that on the regular Shape Tape wand, I don't think anybody would be mad about it. It's also considerably bigger than most concealers, other than the Too Faced Born This Way one, which is practically the size of a foundation bottle. There's some pretty big items in here, so let's start with this. This is the Drybar Hot Toddy Heat Protectant Mist. So I've tried a couple of Drybar products before. I have not tried this particular one. It says it protects up to 450 degrees Fahrenheit or 230 degrees Celsius. So that means if you're using like hot tools, curling iron, straightening iron, you want to use this first. I have a couple of different products of this nature that I have used. My main one, honestly, is just like a Tresemme thing. It seems to work pretty well. It leaves my hair feeling pretty soft after I've straightened or curled it or whatever. But I honestly can't speak to how well it protects my hair from breakage because I have pretty dry hair to begin with. And I don't use heat tools like so frequently that I feel like I would see a difference. I am excited to try this. Obviously, anything that is supposed to protect your hair, I'm game to try. Drybar products are supposed to be really high quality and really expensive, so this is a great value for the Boxycharm box. Okay, the next thing in here, I had seen in the previews and I was kind of hoping I wasn't gonna get it. This is from First Aid Beauty. It's their Hello Fab Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer, and I have tried this before. First Aid Beauty is a brand that I will sing the praises of. Almost everything I've tried from them has been a home run. I have relatively sensitive skin that gets dried out by cleansers very easily, and their cleanser was one of the first ones that really didn't do that for me, and so I use it regularly. It's one of my favorite skincare staples. Their moisturizers are really good, with the exception of this one. Oh, I like their resurfacing pads. Those are pretty nice. So basically, when I first tried their products, this was one of the things I was interested in. I was looking for a primer at the time. I love coconut, so this I thought would be great. I got one of their sets. So First Aid Beauty, first of all, if you're shopping for skincare products, they have really awesome like value bundles. So they'll put a bunch of minis together, way reduced from what it would normally be. It's a really great way to try out a whole bunch of their products without wasting your money on something full size. So this was in the first like set that I bought from them, and I hated it. I hated it so much. I remember it smelled good, and that was basically it. So they say you can use it as a moisturizer or a primer, which is why it has the name it does. And at first I think I was trying it specifically as a primer, and it did not do a good job because it kind of would just sit on top of my skin. I mean, you don't want a primer to fully absorb because then it's like it's not even there. What's the point? But it just kind of sat. And then any makeup that I applied would then sit on top of it. And I was using it very sparingly because I always do that when I have like kind of expensive products or I only have a little bit of the product. And even so, like I would smooth it out as much as I possibly could. And I would put like my foundation on and it would just like slide right off. It looked so greasy and it looked so oily, and it would collect in areas where you didn't want it to. Like I wouldn't even put it around my nose, but it would somehow still end up in the crevices between like my nose and my cheek. And it just looked atrocious. I would leave my house first thing in the morning looking sweaty. So then I was like, okay, well, why don't I try to just to use this up, I'll try using it as a moisturizer. Well, it didn't soak into my skin like it should have, and it would just sit on top, and again, it would just collect, and it would make me look like I had just run a marathon, and I looked greasy. And it was like, eventually, literally, this was like 2 years ago, I took it out of my drawer one day. I was like, I'm never ever going to use this. In the garbage you go. So, having said that, I have fairly dry skin, so I don't know who else I could potentially give this to, like, that's drier than me, and be like, oh, this will work for you, because this will make up for what you're lacking, and it won't be too much. So I really do love First Aid Beauty. This is one of, like, the few things that I just would not touch with a 10-foot pole. So I'm happy to see that brand in Boxycharm. This is a brand I'm familiar with. It's a brand I trust to not, like, break me out or anything. But this is going to go far, far away. Finally, the last thing in here is from KAB Cosmetics. This is their Day Plus Night Eyeshadow Palette. So, I was hoping I would get this. I think it was a variation item, and it looks really pretty in the pictures. Having seen it in person, like, it still looks nice, There are 18 shades in here. 8 of them are matte, 10 of them are shimmer. I thought it was the other way around. This is a perfectly nice palette. Again, having not really used it yet. I am kind of intrigued by the shimmers. I've never tried anything from them before. This is a brand that's been in Boxycharm, I think, a few times, but I've never gotten anything. There was some commentary on Instagram that this is a brand that was available at Walmart, which is not really as high-end of a quality or like as exclusive or as expensive a value as people are usually looking for in a Boxycharm box. So that is a little disappointing. I've never seen any of them personally. I don't know, maybe they're only available in the States or what, but I'm coming at this from like the position of like a relatively privileged person who has a lot of eyeshadow palettes, who has a lot of neutral eyeshadow palettes, who has tried a lot of palettes and then gotten rid of them because they didn't meet my expectations. So, you know, to see this just on its own merit, I think it's a nice color story. I think there is a little bit of repetition in here. Like these two shades look a smidge too similar for me. And, you know, you could maybe lose a couple of these brown shades. Like, you know, maybe we make it a 15 instead of an 18 pan palette. I like these purples. These look really pretty. And I will definitely give it a try. ColourPop actually came out with a similar color story lately, and I was really interested in that one. So I don't know what my deal is with this, other than maybe it was available at Walmart, other than it's a brand I don't know. So I am interested to try it. I'm definitely going to swatch it. I might end up giving it away to somebody eventually, but I won't do that without having tried it first. I will say this is a color story that I feel like you could get in a lot of places. Like I'm sure Morphe has like 6 different palettes that cover this range. There was a palette from Hip Dot that we got in a Boxycharm last fall, I think it was, that was very similar. It had purples, burgundies, those kinds of shades. I think it was a little bit brighter looking. It's actually like on the shelf here, but it's in the box that's holding up my camera, so I'm not going to break it out right now. Violet Voss Holy Grail palette is kind of similar to this. The Iconic London palette that I got, the Iconic London Day to Slay palette, which came out in a Boxycharm a long time ago, was pretty similar. So basically what I'm saying is warm neutral palettes kind of bore me. That said, I will still try them because every now and then the quality or like the appearance of a shadow on the lid versus in the pan could really surprise you. So I am going to give this a shot. I did want to try it. Like I didn't, you know, turn my nose up at it having seen it in the promos. So I'm talking in circles. I'm really tired. I got up at 5:30 for work today. So pardon my incoherent rambling. Anyway, okay, I will swatch this. I will take some pictures. I will put them on the screen and you can see what I think and what they look like. This KAB Cosmetics palette is also cruelty-free. Alright, so I did some swatches of this palette. There's the top row. You can see that the 4 on the right-hand side swatched pretty well. And then Twinkle Twinkle, it was really disappointing. It kind of disappeared halfway through the swatch. And Halo was okay, but it didn't apply as opaquely as the 2 brown shades, Cocoa and Terracotta, which were both pretty accurately named, I would say. Burgundy doesn't show up quite as burgundy as it does like a brown. It's like a metallic terracotta, really. It would be cool if it was a metallic burgundy because I don't think I have many of those. Here's the second row. Midnight looks like a pretty cool shade. It's interesting because Moon Dust looks really silvery, but like it looks like it's going to shift brown in the pan. And then when I put it on, it actually looks more brown in person than it does in this photo somehow. So if you can see like where my finger kind of tails off at the end of the swatch, that's kind of what it looks like more in person. It's less of a silvery gray and more of kind of like a brown shifting to silver. Again, the 2 orangey brown shades swatched pretty opaquely, which was nice. And then that sunset color I was really disappointed to see also didn't show up all that well. That one I did, like, I went in twice and swatched it twice, and it still didn't really clear like half of the distance as the other ones did as I was swatching it. So that's too bad, really, because I think the thing that made this palette not just a neutrals palette was that like top corner of purple shades, and so far none of them have really shown up as such. Here's the last row. That naked shade did actually show up. It's just that it's the same color as my skin, so you can't really see it. Golden Hour and Starlight were actually really surprisingly perfect. Like, they were such creamy metallics. And then Sand, I actually did wear that one day, and it's really nice. It's like a cool toned kind of a gray brown. And unfortunately, I was thinking about it, and There's nothing else in this palette that would really deepen that out without making your look warm toned, unless you go really dark with the cocoa shades from earlier. So I kind of wish they played around more in that color family. I did also wear some of the metallic shades. I don't remember which ones exactly. And they showed up pretty nicely on the lid. Like, it did look pretty, but it did wear off, you know, relatively fast. I was not using an eyeshadow primer that day. So as palettes go, I think it's a nice palette. Because I'm comparing it to so many other neutral palettes, it's really nothing particularly special to me. Like I said, that purple corner would have been a little bit different, but it's not great. Some of these shimmers, again, like the Midnight and the Moon Dust, are kind of different from what I already have, so I will use it. I will keep it around for a while. I might end up giving it away at some point, but the formula was pretty comfortable. It applied pretty well, and yeah, that's my thoughts on that. There's another one that it also reminds me of, actually. It's the Phoenix Rising palette from Pretty Vulgar, which I have as well. Only that one only has, I think, one purple shade, and this one has a couple that are lighter, but it's very much in the same color family. Here are the products that you could have gotten in the base box in May. Honestly, I took a glance through these and there wasn't really anything particularly exciting to me. You know, there's a couple of skincare products here. These are not brands I'm familiar with. I think Beekman 1802 was behind the Schitt's Creek Rose Apothecary, like, merch line of skincare, but that's the only context I'm really familiar with them. There's a couple brushes. There's this mini kabuki brush and then this brush set from Lavish. A few lip products, and then a Ciate London bronzer, which is, I think, the only thing from Ciate London that I haven't seen in a box before. A lot of these brands are not terribly well known. Like, it's either stuff I've only seen in a Boxycharm of some kind, or it's like kind of indie brands that aren't very well known. So that's kind of, again, a little bit annoying. This one, actually, I hadn't seen before. I know Ciate London has lipstick that, like, looks matte when you put it on, and then you rub your lips together, it becomes glittery. This is apparently the same concept in an eyeshadow, so that was really cool. I don't know how this magic works, because you don't really rub your eyelids like you do your lips. I think it's just like a multi-chrome kind of liquid shadow, so that would have been kind of neat to get. And then it seems like they reused some of the palettes from previous boxes. So there's the Violet Voss All of You Forever palette. That was, I think, way back in January. And then down here there was the Natasha Denona Jubilee palette, which was just last month. Both of which I would have been really excited to get. This Murad City Skin Overnight Detox Moisturizer was the other choice item instead of the Tarte Glow Wand, or whatever it's called. Then there were some tweezers and a makeup sponge, and then this and this we have definitely seen in previous boxes. Okay, so let's look at some prices. According to the sheet, the Tarte Shape Tape Glow Wand is $27, and I found this on Sephora. In Canada, it's $35. The KAB Cosmetics Day and Night Eyeshadow Palette is $52. That's insane. Maybe I was wrong about this being available at Walmart. I don't think that's Walmart prices. Again, not really sure about the quality, so we'll see. It might be a decent value. Even for 18 shadows, that seems pretty steep. Okay, but I converted it and it's $62.75 Canadian. The First Aid Beauty Hello Fab Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. That's too long a name. This is $30. Retails for $40 Canadian at Sephora. The Drybar Hot Toddy Heat Protectant Mist is $27. Canadian Sephora had it for $36. And then the hand skincare cosmetic multi-stick is $16 American, and that works out to about $19.30 Canadian. So overall, the value of the box is $152 American, $193 Canadian. So I would say overall, that's a pretty good value. I honestly thought it was going to be a little bit more than that just when I was looking at these items, but I guess this one brings the average down a little bit. Individually, like the cost of the box on its own would be like one of these three products, you know. And they also say that every box will be at least $125 in value, so they cleared that mark. Overall, I'm pretty happy. I mean, okay, hang on. At face value, I'm pretty happy. We had 3 makeup items, 1 hair care, and then 1 that was kind of makeup, kind of skincare. So, I mean, I'm pretty content with that breakdown. This particular priming moisturizer, not my favorite again, but like, how would they know that I've tried it before, you know? Hopefully the palette works out well. It's not like a knockout box, like compared to what we've had in the past, but individually, like the brand recognition, I would say is absolutely there, especially for like 3 of the items. That was an issue that I had, I think I mentioned in April, where there was a lot of stuff from like kind of no-name brands. or at least brands that I didn't recognize, which is always a little bit disappointing in a box like this. So I think this one succeeded where that one failed. And actually, I do want to talk for a moment about the premium box. I got a premium box in April. It showed up really, really late in the month. So I didn't end up filming a video about it because it showed up late. I was already working on some other things, and it just kind of got too late for it to really be relevant anymore. I did open it, obviously. Maybe I'll post some pictures on Instagram or something, but I just don't think it's worth my while to film an entire video dedicated to it. There is another Natasha Denona palette in that, which I got to choose, and I was very, very happy with that. The premium box for May, I elected not to buy, so I canceled my premium subscription. There were a couple of reasons for that. One of them was just finances. You know, I am a regular subscriber to a few things. I was trying to, you know, curtail my budget a little bit, save some money. You know, I'm not going through my new makeup as frequently as I used to because of what I've been doing with my caboodle, where I just stick to the products in there. And one of the other reasons was I honestly wasn't that excited about it. I did go through the choice process, and then I canceled, like, actually it was probably like the last day of April. So I had chosen the Too Faced Melted Chocolate liquid eyeshadow, and then they had the House Laboratories, which is Lady Gaga's brand, eyeshadow palette. And funny enough, I had actually come really close to buying that eyeshadow palette from Amazon when it was on sale a couple months ago. I chose not to buy the palette then because I looked at it and I went, yes, it's a really good price. Yes, I've been interested to try something from this brand. However, it's fairly basic. So there's like a purple shade in there that looks pretty. There's like a pale pink. But all of these shades are things that I have many times over. It would be nice to just get a really basic palette just to get a feel for the formula. There was a limited edition one she put out a while ago that kind of grabbed my attention, but it's not available anymore. So between that and the Too Faced liquid eyeshadows, those are a newer item, but they're already like being marked down at Sephora. They're already on clearance. They're already either seem like they're on their way out, seemed like they weren't as popular as they originally planned. Maybe they had too much in stock that were going to expire soon or something. I don't know. But either way, both of those items kind of seemed like we were getting like the tail end of somebody's inventory. Like it kind of seemed like these would be products that you would see showing up at a Marshall's soon because they just kind of want to like get them out of the way. Also with the Too Faced one, like you were able to pick the shade, and obviously I understand it's a chocolate themed collection. It was like 8 different brown shades and like 1 white. So none of those shades were particularly appealing to me, especially because they were matte. So you're not even going to get like an interesting finish on them. All of the other spoilers for the box, I was seeing a lot of brands thrown around rather than specific items. They were all skincare brands, and it was all just like, oh, okay, I'm not really that interested. So I knew I would be getting 2 makeup items that I'd chosen, and then beyond that, I didn't know what I would be getting. From what I've seen, I don't really feel like I missed out on a whole lot. The June one as well, you know, there were some choice items that I was like, that might be interesting. And because I didn't have the premium box in May, I don't get to choose the June items. So that's kind of a deal breaker. I wouldn't do that. And honestly, if there's 1 or 2 products that I think really interest me, they probably are going to come up in add-ons or pop up at some point in the near future. I think for premium, I'm going to play it by ear for the next little bit. I am getting a Luxe box in June. We'll see how that goes. Maybe I'll cancel it. I don't know. So I will definitely make a video about that when it shows up at the house. I did make a video as well where I like kind of scrolled through the pop-up sale. I'll link that down below or in a card or something. So you can check that out if you want. I think the pop-up sale is only going on until the end of this week though. So this video, it might be over by the time this video gets put up, but we shall see. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it all the way to the end, as I am rambling for the umpteenth time. If you would like, please consider subscribing. If you got a box this month, let me know. What did you get? Did we get the same stuff? Thank you once again. I hope you have a great day. Bye.